Welcome back to Mad Hatter's Civil War history. Before Chickamauga had even faded into memory, the Confederate High Command was already tearing itself apart. 6 days after the fighting ended, one of the South's most senior generals put his despair into writing, accusing his own army's leadership of squandering blood, opportunity, and perhaps the war itself. What followed was not merely a battle story, but a portrait of command failure, fractured loyalty, and a victory so costly it nearly doomed the cause it was meant to save. "6 days after the Battle of Chickamauga, Lieutenant General James Longstreet sat down to write one of his most extraordinary and damning letters ever penned by a senior Confederate commander. Addressed to Secretary of War James Seddon, it was not a post-battle reflection, but a cry of frustration. Longstreet declared that nothing short of divine intervention could save the Confederacy so long as its Western Army remained under its current commander, General Braxton Bragg. The words were striking, not because Chickamauga had been a Confederate defeat, it was not, but because they revealed how deeply fractured the Confederate High Command had become. Even in victory, despair reigned. Longstreet warned that the Confederacy's blood was being poured out across the continent and might be exhausted before independence was achieved. That sense of urgency was well-founded. The summer of 1863 had been catastrophic for the South. In the East, Gettysburg shattered the aura surrounding Robert E. Lee. In the West, Vicksburg fell, splitting the Confederacy in two and opening the Mississippi to Union control. Less famous, but no less damning, was General William Rosecrans's brilliant campaign in Middle Tennessee. With a series of masterful maneuvers, Rosecrans forced Bragg out of strong positions without fighting major battles, securing Tennessee and positioning the Union Army of the Cumberland for a thrust to Chattanooga, the gateway to the Deep South. With the Mississippi lost and northern Georgia exposed, the defense of Chattanooga became the Confederacy's last realistic chance to halt a Union invasion. That responsibility fell squarely on Braxton Bragg. By late summer 1863, Bragg was under pressure from every direction. To the north, Union troops under Ambrose Burnside threatened Knoxville. To the south and west, Rosecrans maneuvered toward Chattanooga. Intelligence suggested Union forces were attempting to outflank Bragg through Alabama, placing his army in grave danger of encirclement. Bragg faced a brutal choice. He could attempt to hold both Chattanooga and Knoxville, or concede one to save the other. The distance between the cities was too great to defend both effectively. Spreading his army thin would invite disaster. Bragg chose Chattanooga. With deep reluctance, he ordered his Knoxville forces to withdraw southward and concentrate near the Tennessee-Georgia border. The decision was strategically sound, but politically explosive. Bragg's army already distrusted him. His subordinates openly questioned his judgment, some even petitioning Richmond for his removal. A bizarre vote of confidence backfired spectacularly, confirming that most of his generals had lost faith in him. On the eve of the campaign, Bragg commanded an army whose morale was cracked, whose leadership was divided, and whose confidence was shaken. As Bragg regrouped in Georgia, Rosecrans pushed forward. Union corps filtered through mountain gaps southwest of Chattanooga, spreading across rugged terrain. To Bragg, the danger was unmistakable. The Union was not merely seizing Chattanooga, it was probing for a deeper invasion into Georgia itself. Reluctantly, Bragg abandoned Chattanooga without a fight and pulled back toward Lafayette, Georgia, gambling on an opportunity Rosecrans had unknowingly created. In advancing so boldly, Rosecrans had divided his army across 3 widely separate locations. If Bragg could strike each Union corps in isolation, he could destroy the Army of the Cumberland piecemeal. It was a bold plan, perhaps Bragg's boldest gamble of the war. Bragg moved first against the Union center near McLemore's Cove, ordering a coordinated attack designed to envelop and annihilate an isolated Union division. Confederate forces maneuvered into position, surrounding the enemy almost perfectly, but decisive execution never came. Key Confederate commanders hesitated, believing Union strength to be greater than it was. Delays mounted. Reinforcements slipped through the mountain gaps. Union troops extricated themselves just in time. What should have been a crushing blow became another lost opportunity. Union General George Thomas, observing Bragg's failure, wrote that only Confederate mistakes had saved the Army of the Cumberland from destruction. Bragg quickly shifted focus to another exposed Union corps near Lee and Gordon's Mill. Orders were clear. Support was promised. The timing was ideal. Once again, the attack failed to materialize. One senior Confederate general ignored direct orders to engage, even as Bragg personally arrived and demanded action. By the time Confederate troops advanced, the Union forces had slipped away behind formidable terrain. Twice now, Bragg had his enemy divided, vulnerable and within reach. Twice, poor execution had squandered the advantage. Recognizing the moment was slipping away, Bragg devised a new plan. This one hinged on deception and surprise. Confederate cavalry would launch a diversionary attack against the Union right, while the main force crossed Chickamauga Creek and struck the Union left flank at dawn. Wars are often remembered for their great battles, but behind every army on campaign lay a quieter struggle, fought far from the main line, the constant search for food, ammunition, and survival itself. In Forge Ahead, players step into that overlooked world. In Forge Ahead, players lead soldiers across a continent torn apart by war. Each miniature represents a unique individual, trained in different skills and forced to rely on one another in uncertain conditions. You guide them as they move through forests, fields, and contested grounds, searching for food, weapons, and vital supplies that could determine whether an army advances or starves. Forge Ahead is not simply a game of combat. It is a game of judgment, restraint, and adaptation, where terrain matters, timing matters, and survival depends on what you can secure and bring back. Because wars are not won by battles alone. They are sustained, quietly, dangerously, by those who forge ahead. Scan the QR code to order now. Mad Hatter subscribers can get 40% off the purchase. The crossing began before sunrise on September 18th. Confederate troops splashed through the creeks and advanced through dense woods into contact with Union cavalry screens. What followed was one of the most impressive delaying actions of the war. Outnumbered Union cavalry and mounted infantry, armed with rapid-firing Spencer rifles, held off Confederate forces for nearly 10 hours. Men fought dismounted, trading ground inch by inch. Their resistance bought Rosecrans something priceless: time. By nightfall, Rosecrans had concentrated his scattered army. Bragg's surprise was gone. The next morning, both armies blundered into one another amid the dark woods along the Chickamauga Creek. Early skirmishes flared into full-scale battle almost accidentally. Union units searching for isolated Confederate remnants instead encountered entire divisions. Both sides rushed reinforcements forward. What followed was chaotic, close-range combat in tangled undergrowth, where units lost cohesion and command became nearly impossible. General George Thomas responded decisively, committing division after division to stabilize the Union left. In doing so, he seized the initiative, forcing Bragg to react instead of attack. Bragg's opportunity to envelop the Union left evaporated. The battle widened, escalated into an all-day struggle across a miles-long front. Throughout the morning and afternoon, Confederate divisions slammed into Union positions again and again. Woods, ravines, and heavy undergrowth turned the battlefield into a maze. Men fired at shadows, units intermingled, officers went down by the dozens. Union divisions bent but did not break. Confederate attacks gained ground, lost it, then gained it again. Artillery fire ignited brush fires that filled the battlefield with smoke and flame. By mid-afternoon, openings began to appear in the Union center, but quick thinking, aggressive counterattacks, and redeployed artillery prevented collapse. As dusk approached, assaults grew more desperate. Confederate commanders sent brigade after brigade forward in near darkness. Fighting became hand-to-hand. Misidentification led to tragic friendly fire on both sides. By nightfall, neither army held a decisive advantage. The battlefield fell silent under freezing temperatures, broken only by the cries of thousands of wounded men laying between the lines. As darkness settled, both commanders assessed the situation and misunderstood it. Bragg believed he had driven the Union left backward and expected to finish the job at dawn by renewing the assault in the same area. He did not realize Union forces had shifted north during the night, extending their line far beyond his expectations. Rosecrans, for his part, believed Bragg would either retreat or continue attacking along known lines. Acting on this assumption, he adjusted his positions accordingly, attempting to strengthen the left while maintaining flexibility elsewhere. Neither commander fully grasped how dramatically the battlefield had changed. At dawn, Confederate attacks began, piecemeal and disjointed. Then came disaster. A misunderstanding in Union headquarters led to a real gap forming in the Federal line. At that precise moment, Longstreet, fresh from the Eastern Theater, launched his attack. Confederate columns surged forward, passing through the gap like water through a broken dam. The Union right collapsed almost instantly. Thousands fled toward Chattanooga. Rosecrans himself was swept from the field. Only Thomas remained. Calm, resolute, immovable, Thomas rallied broken units on a series of ridges and repulsed repeated Confederate assaults throughout the afternoon. Under relentless pressure, his men held. By nightfall, Thomas still stood. The Rock of Chickamauga had earned his name. Chickamauga was one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. Nearly 30,000 men were killed, wounded, or captured. Though a Confederate battlefield victory, it proved strategically hollow. Bragg failed to destroy the Union of the Cumberland. Rosecrans retreated to Chattanooga, where he would soon be relieved of command. Bragg, facing Ulysses S. Grant and a revitalized Union army, lost Tennessee within months and resigned in disgrace. Chickamauga broke both commanders. Neither would fully recover. But it also defined Thomas, altered the balance of power in the West, and set the stage for the final Union drive into Georgia. The cost was enormous. The impact was decisive. Chickamauga stands as one of the greatest paradoxes of the Civil War. It was a battlefield victory that delivered no peace, a triumph that exposed weakness rather than strength. The Confederate army had struck hard and bled the Army of the Cumberland, but it had failed to finish the fight. What followed was not pursuit, but recrimination, not unity, but fracture. For Braxton Bragg, Chickamauga sealed a reputation already in decline. His inability to translate opportunity into decisive results deepened the alienation between commander and subordinates, leaving an army mistrustful and leaderless in spirit. What should have been the Confederacy's moment of resurgence instead became the prelude to collapse in the West. For William Rosecrans, Chickamauga ended a career. Brilliant in maneuver, imaginative in strategy, he was undone by exhaustion, confusion, and a single catastrophic error. Command passed from his hands almost immediately, and he would never again lead an army in the field. And yet, from the wreckage emerged one of the war's defining figures. George H. Thomas did not win the battle, but he denied defeat. On the ridges south of Chattanooga, he transformed disaster into survival, holding long enough to preserve an army and change the course of the campaign. In doing so, he earned a name that history would not forget. Chickamauga did not decide the war, but it reshaped it. It opened the road to Chattanooga, set the stage for Grant's rise, and ensured that the Confederacy's last great army in the West would never regain the initiative. The cost was staggering. The outcome, irreversible. Thanks for watching this episode of Mad Hatter's Civil War History. Like, follow, and click the bell for notifications to ensure you see all of the latest content. As always, let me know if there's any other important events of the American Civil War you would like me to address.